A very good evening and welcome to the news tonight. Your one stop for the day's top stories from India and across the world. I'm Tracy Shilshi, and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting you all those top stories. But first, the headlines. A short but historic visit, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as he charms the Indian diaspora in Dublin, seeks Ireland's help on push for a UNSC seat. All eyes now on the action-packed US leg of the Prime Minister's 6-day big-ticket trip. Modi to leave for New York later tonight. Nitish Kumar announces names of 242 Grand Alliance candidates for the 5-phase Bihar elections. Majority of seats going to OBCs. Hardik Patel's whereabouts traced to Saurashtra a day after his lawyer alleged that he was detained illegally by Gujarat police. And the European Union overcomes opposition with a majority vote on the plan to relocate 120,000 migrants. Top story this evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi sought Ireland's support in India's UNSC bid. The Prime Minister held bilateral talks with his Irish counterpart Enda Kenny in Dublin today. Modi also sought Ireland's support for the reforms of the UN Security Council within a fixed time frame, particularly for the successful conclusion of the intergovernmental negotiations in the 70th year of the United Nations. Both the countries also pledged a closer trade and economic partnership. Later in the day, Modi addressed the Indian diaspora in the Irish capital.
Our bilateral trade and investment ties are growing despite global and regional uncertainties. I sought Ireland's support for the reforms of the UN Security Council within the fixed time frame, in particular for successful conclusion of intergovernmental negotiations in the 70th year of the United Nations. His support for India's permanent membership of the Reformed Security Council.
We also discussed the question of the reform of the United Nations, the Security Council. We recognise that changes that take place there, on the one hand, should not diminish the opportunity of small countries to sit on the Security Council. On the other hand, should recognise the geopolitical realities of massive countries with power bases like India, and we will work diligently through the Minister and his counterparts in that regard.
Well, Prime Minister Modi leaves for New York today, which will mark the beginning of an action-packed week in the US. He is expected to lay new benchmarks for India's arrangement or engagement with America, with the primary focus being on getting more foreign direct investment and impart a positive forward thrust to the Make in India campaign.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi leaving for a 7-day tour of Ireland and America. All eyes will of course be on the US leg of his visit that's expected to lay new benchmarks for India and the US. During the visit, Modi will meet a number of people from financial, technology and manufacturing sectors.
One of the primary objectives of the Prime Minister's visit to America is to get more foreign direct investment and make the Make in India program a huge success. American collaboration with that program in terms of skills, in terms of technology and in terms of investment is very, very crucial.
Modi will reach New York on Wednesday, where he will address the 70th session of Annual United Nations General Assembly Summit on Friday. The next 2 days are reserved for his trip to the West Coast, which is the home of startups, innovation and technology. Modi will be the first Indian Prime Minister to visit West Coast in 33 years. On the 28th, Modi will also call on US President Barack Obama. It will be their third meeting in a year. Modi is also expected to visit Silicon Valley, home to technology giants like Google, Facebook and Apple. He will invite them to invest in India. Modi will also interact with the Indian community on the day, an event that is being built on a scale that no less than what Modi addressed at the Madison Square Garden last year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now back home, and after dragging its feet for several days, the Grand Alliance in Bihar finally announced its list of candidates for the polls. In a show of unity, the leader of the alliance, Nitish Kumar, announced a list of 242 candidates for the elections. He was flanked by RJD Bihar President Ramchandra Purve and Congress State Unit Chief Ashok Chaudhary. Here's a report.
The Grand Alliance, comprising of the Janata Dal United, Rashtriya Janata Dal and the Congress, announced its list of 242 candidates for the 5-phase Bihar Assembly elections. The candidate for Rajgir, which will be contested by the JDU, is yet to be announced. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar announced the list in Patna on the last day of nomination for the first phase of elections on October 12th. He claimed that all is well within the Mahagathbandhan, unlike its rivals, where massive rebellion marred ticket distribution.
महागठबंधन के उम्मीदवार के तौर पर जो घटक दल के प्रत्याशी हैं उन सबों की एक समेकित सूची आज जारी की जा रही है.
The social engineering that the Grand Alliance aims to achieve was reflected in the list. 16% of seats have been given to upper castes, 55% to backward classes, 16% to scheduled castes and tribes, and 14% to Muslims. While announcing the candidates' list, Nitish also chose to launch yet another round of attacks on the BJP and its ideological mentor, the RSS.
में जो बातें उन्होंने कही है, उससे यह साफ प्रकट होता है कि वे आरक्षण की वर्तमान प्रणाली को ठीक नहीं मानते. वो चाहते हैं कि कुछ लोग की कमेटी बन जाए और वो कमेटी इन चीजों पर विचार करे कि किन वर्गों को आरक्षण मिलना चाहिए और कितने दिन तक आरक्षण मिलना चाहिए.
Nitish Kumar claimed that the list of 242 candidates was prepared after long deliberations with alliance partners who had authorized him to release the names jointly. The candidate for one more seat will be announced in a day or two. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
And amid the flurry of candidates list by all the parties, there's a lot of dissent among those seeking a chance to contest the polls. Some have even jumped ship to join other parties, and almost all the parties are facing protests over ticket distribution. Take a look.
These protests have now become a common feature at almost every party office in Patna. There is growing dissent among poll aspirants who have been denied tickets to contest in the forthcoming assembly polls. While hundreds line up for a ticket, not everyone is lucky. Some of them decided to quit party, expressing disappointment for not making it to the list of candidates.
हम लोग 25 साल से विधानसभा का रामधारी सिंह नेतृत्व कर रहे हैं. 25 साल से कंटिन्यू विजयी हुए हैं. अभी पदे स्वास्थ्य मंत्री भी हैं. इसके बावजूद भी उनका सीट काट दिया. उनके पास आज भी 50,000 मतदाता हैं.
While BJP has denied tickets to 16 MLAs, JDU has foregone its claim on more than 25 seats. JDU's Daud Ali, who represents Dumrao seat, has decided to contest from Papu Yadav's Jan Adhikar Manch. On Tuesday, former Minister Chandra Mohan Rai decided to quit BJP over party's decision to deny him ticket. But all the parties have put up a brave face despite the rebellion.
जेडीयू कांग्रेस में कोई सीटों को लेकर कोई विवाद नहीं है. सीट चिन्हित करके अलग हो चुके कैंडिडेट तय हो गए. एक रणनीति के तहत हमने तय किया था कि बीजेपी की सूची के बाद हम लोग घोषणा करेंगे. कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं है. आपको महागठबंधन के किसी भी नेता के किसी भी बयान से ऐसा लगा जो सीट शेयरिंग में है?
असंतुष्ट जैसी कोई बात नहीं है, क्योंकि जब बड़ा गठबंधन होता है, इतनी सीटें होती हैं, तो हर पक्ष का कुछ अपना विचार होता है और उसमें कई बार सामंजस्य बनाने में कुछ देर लगती है.
जो सीटों का बंटवारा हो गया वो हो गया. अब फिर इसमें कोई ये नहीं होना चाहिए. फाइनल हो गया, फिनिश्ड.
Some of the rebels have joined rivals to get a chance to contest the elections. It remains to be seen if they could spoil the chances of the bigger alliances. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now to Gujarat, where Kota agitation leader Hardik Patel has finally been traced after he went missing yesterday. As per reports, he is in Halwar district. While his lawyer had claimed that Hardik was arrested, Hardik himself claims that he has been abducted by people with weapons. Here's the report.
Hardik Patel, the leader of the Patel community's Kota agitation, has been traced after he reportedly went missing since Tuesday. According to reports, he communicated an SMS to his lawyer that he is in Halwar district of Saurashtra region to meet young leaders. The whole drama began Tuesday when the Gujarat High Court issued an order on Tuesday night after Hardik's lawyer alleged that his client had been detained illegally by the police. The court asked the state government to find him and produce him before the court on Thursday, but the police said that he had given them a slip when they tried to detain him.
जब ये लोग सभा पूरी करके निकल रहे थे, तब उनके व्हीकल को हमने रोका 3 व्हीकल पकड़े गए, लेकिन 2 व्हीकल वहां से टर्न होके चले गए। 3 व्हीकल में कुल मिलाकर 12 लोग पकड़े गए। उनके कहने के मुताबिक कि जो 2 व्हीकल चले गए, जिसमें चौथा व्हीकल था, उसके अंदर हार्दिक पटेल था, वो वहां से भाग गया।
The Gujarat police has also started crackdown on Hardik's key aides. The police booked Hardik's close aide Nilesh Patel under sedition charges for allegedly inciting public and making remarks against State Chief Minister Anandiben Patel, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and BJP President Amit Shah. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Still ahead, international news. An automobile giant Volkswagen has faced multiple probe in US over rigging emission tests. An airstrike in Yemen targeting Houthi rebels leaves at least 20 people dead.
Hello and welcome to The Quest. Party people, they just suddenly took me, and I had not even in my dream thought of taking care of his party or entering into politics, because this was never my cup of tea. If I fail, my party is going to go down the drain. I was like a fresh entry. I think I am just trying to search for myself, my own identity.
Watch The Quest with Lok Sabha MP Anupriya Patel Thursday at 10 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television. Get live Rajya Sabha session, news, views, reports and analysis you can trust on social media. Subscribe, follow, like Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, India is celebrating the first anniversary of the Mangalyaan mission. On this occasion, ISRO has released an atlas with some special images of the red planet. Take a look.
2, 1, 0, plus 1, 2, 3.
Liftoff.
Liftoff normal.
Prakshepan safalta.
1 year after it attained its orbit, ISRO releasing an atlas on the Mangalyaan. Some of its key highlights are images from the Mars Color camera and the results from the methane sensor. Mangalyaan completed its shelf life of 6 months this March, but according to ISRO, it's good enough to orbit the red planet for many more years. ISRO launched the MOM spacecraft from Sriharikota on 5th of November 2013. It escaped the Earth's gravitational field on 1st of December the same year. Mangalyaan entered the Martian orbit on 24th of September 2014 and started sending pictures of the planet from the second day itself. The Mars mission cost India 450 crore rupees. It made India the first country to reach the red planet on its very first attempt. Last year, Time magazine selected Mangalyaan as one of the best inventions of 2014. It also named it the Super Smart Spacecraft of the Year. With inputs from Aruna Thakur, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you news of the 7/11 Mumbai serial blast case. The prosecution has demanded death sentence for 8 convicts in the 2006 train blast case. It has sought life sentence for 4 others. All 12 convicts had earlier requested the trial court not to award them the death sentence on humanitarian grounds. The court is likely to announce the punishment for the convicts on the 30th of September. 188 people were killed and many others injured in a series of bomb blasts in Mumbai suburban trains on the 11th of July 2006. Heavy rains triggered flash floods in Guwahati today. Normal life was thrown out of gear after incessant rains lashed the city, causing waterlogging. The Met Department recorded 7 centimeters of rainfall in the city. Moderate to rather heavy rains have been predicted for the next 2 days. Officials said that the State Disaster Response Force has been deployed for rescue and relief work. Landslides were also reported near Kamakhya Temple atop the Nilachal Hill. However, residents complain that they have not received any relief material so far. With that, let's take you through some more national news updates in Nationwide. An unclaimed bag reportedly carrying explosives was seized at the Howrah railway station in Kolkata. The package was examined by a bomb disposal squad after cordoning off a corner of the platform. Movement of local and long-distance trains, though, from different platforms remained unaffected. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha today urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi to find a suitable mechanism to resolve the fishing dispute with Sri Lanka. This followed the arrest of 15 fishermen by the Lankan Navy 2 days ago. In a letter to the Prime Minister, Jayalalitha called for restoration of fishing rights of Tamil fishermen and demanded steps to secure their release. A young army officer was killed in a freak accident during training at the Pokhran range in Rajasthan. Major Dhruv Yadav was struck by a splinter during a firepower demonstration involving Arjun tanks of the Army's 75 Armoured Regiment. The Army has launched a full inquiry. In other news now, India will be making big-ticket investments in Iran to the tune of 1 lakh crore rupees. Iran has offered India a bigger role in developing the strategic Chabahar port of the Persian Gulf. Iran has offered to supply natural gas at half the current import rate for a urea plant that India will set up. Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari had visited Tehran in May when the two nations inked a pact to develop the port. Iran's Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif had also called on Gadkari last month. India has been in talks with Tehran to set up the plant besides developing a gas discovery ONGC had made. In other international news, overriding opposition, the European Union is on the verge of approving a plan to relocate 120,000 migrants across the continent. Besides the relocation, the European Union is also expected to finalize plans to tighten borders and increase aid to neighboring Syria.
The European Union is all set to approve its migrant quota allocation plan. Notwithstanding a majority vote by European foreign ministers on Tuesday, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Romania and Hungary put up vehement resistance. Finland abstained from the vote. European nations will share 120,000 refugees across 28 states. Late on Wednesday night, members will decide on tighter border controls and boosting aid to neighbours of Syria.
In and by itself, the decision we took today is not going to solve the refugee crisis. But without this decision, I think we would not have been in a possibility to now take the next steps to make sure that we do better at protecting our external borders, that we do better at registering people immediately when they arrive.
The UK opted out from the relocation scheme, claiming that they have their own plans to resettle migrants directly from Syrian refugee camps. Both France and UK feel a solution to the Syrian conflict is key to resolving the crisis.
We have announced that we will be taking more refugees direct from the Syrian refugee camps. We will be resettling those people in the UK over the next few years.
However, there is no respite in sight as migrants continue to pour in from war-torn Middle Eastern countries.
Actually, the most support I've seen is in Greece and here in Austria. The most support, especially from the Red Cross and the groups that are supporting us here.
Nearly 1,200 migrants reached Croatian borders on Tuesday, immediately resuming their journey into Hungary by foot. Hungary promptly shut its borders and deployed more troops. All hopes of migrants now rest on the Wednesday meeting to resolve the escalating crisis. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
German auto giant Volkswagen is facing multiple probe in the US for allegedly rigging its diesel car emission tests. Its CEO, Martin Winkelkorn, has resigned after the revelation led to massive plunge in its stocks that hit the European markets on Tuesday. The senior directors of the company will be meeting in Wolfsburg today to decide the future action or the course of action.
Senior directors of German carmaker Volkswagen will decide the next course of action after the company was caught manipulating its diesel car emission tests. It's facing multiple probes in the US which could result in huge financial damage. This comes after Volkswagen admitted it deceived US regulators in exhaust emission tests. A US-based law firm has filed a class action lawsuit alleging fraud, deception and misrepresentation.
The allegation will be that the consumer has been harmed for the full purchase price plus the consequential damages associated with that, whether it's diminution in value, could be the entire purchase price. The impact here is just, massive.
Sehr klar im Ausschuss darauf hingewiesen, dass Vorwürfe, die von Seiten der Grünen formuliert werden, falsch und auch unanständig sind. Wir arbeiten daran, dass wir
Volkswagen's stocks plunged by nearly 20% as a result of the revelation. Despite the controversy, the German government feels it remains equally important to the economy.
Daran ist nicht zu rütteln. Das ist eine wichtige Säule für die deutsche Wirtschaft. Und für uns gibt es keinen Grund daran zu zweifeln, dass die innovative, hervorragende Automobilindustrie dies auch in Zukunft leisten wird und wettbewerbsfähig bleiben wird.
Environmental Protection Agency said that the company could face penalties of up to $18 billion for cheating emission tests. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's take you through some more international news updates in Global Buzz. Warplanes of the Saudi-led alliance bombed 2 houses in Yemen, killing 20 people. The attack came a day after similar airstrikes killed 50 people, including 18 members of a family. The Gulf Arab ground forces are moving towards an advance against Houthi fighters who hold the capital, Sana'a. Pope Francis was greeted by US President Barack Obama on his first visit to America. The Pope is bringing to Washington a message that its power and wealth should help serve humanity. He hopes the US will lift its long trade embargo on Cuba after the negotiations between the two nations. Presidents of African nations reached Burkina Faso to negotiate the peaceful rollback of a coup by the Presidential Guard soldiers last week. The leaders were in a closed-door meeting to discuss a 12-point plan of Senegalese President Macky Sall that includes amnesty for coup leaders. New Zealand's parliament announced a new red peak flag design to be added as a 5th option to the 4 flags. Voters will rank designs in a referendum between the 20th of November and the 11th of December. The favourite will replace New Zealand's current flag in another referendum next March. Another quick break here, but still ahead. Former captain Sourav Ganguly rules out reports that he will succeed former boss Jagmohan Dalmia as the CAB chief.
Tradition dating back centuries. A cultural heritage that inspires and warms at once. Magic that awes. Rajya Sabha Television brings you events that embrace the wonders of India's classical arts. Conversations with the biggest names in the culture and music. Rajya Sabha Television, democracy at work.
Welcome back to the News Delight. Let's get you some cricket news now. And former Indian captain Sourav Ganguly has ruled out reports that he will succeed late BCCI chief Jagmohan Dalmia to head the CAB. Sourav met West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee on Wednesday, triggering speculation that he could be the popular choice to replace Dalmia at the helm of the state's Cricket Association. The meeting comes 3 days after Dalmia died, leaving a void not only in the CAB but also in the BCCI.
All I can say is, I have lost somebody who's very, very dear to me. I've grown in front of him. I may be 42 years of age. And to discuss about somebody's replacement just 2 days after he's been cremated is not the best.
And now let's get you some on-field action in Sports Beat. Two-time Grand Slam champion Stan Wawrinka will compete in the Chennai Open next year. The defending champion and world number 4 will look to claim a hat-trick of championship wins in his 8th visit to Chennai. South Asia's only ATP event will be held from the 4th of January next year. Robert Lewandowski scored 5 goals in 9 minutes in Bayern Munich's 5-1 victory against Wolfsburg. Bayern were a goal down at half-time, but the Polish striker, who came on as a substitute, scored in quick succession to record the fastest 5 goals scored by one player in Bundesliga history. Chelsea striker Diego Costa was suspended from 3 domestic matches after a charge of violent conduct was upheld by the Football Association. Costa was involved in an incident with Arsenal's Laurent during Saturday's 2-0 win over Arsenal in the English Premier League. Chelsea has shown disappointment over the verdict. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.